Peripatus are also known as velvet worms, belongs to phylum Onychophora. Onychos means claw and phoros means bearing in Greek. Velvet worms or walking worms have long been interest to zoologists around the world. Most of the zoologists agree that Onychophora are close relatives of arthropods, which constitute the most diverse phylum Onychophora. The onychophorans have been described as the connecting link between annelids and the arthropods because this group of animals show many interesting similarities to both the phylums. The groups show an excellent example of discontinuous distribution. Recently, it has been given the status of an independent phylum. The 47 genera and 155 species belong to this phylum. The genus Peripatus was established in 1826 by Gilding, who first located animals from St. Vincent in the Antilles. Peripatus said to be a living fossil because it has been unchanged since 570 million years. Distribution: all worms live in tropical habitats. The species are found in Central and South America, West Indies, South Africa, Australia, New Zealand and Himalayas, but not found in Europe or Antarctica. Habit and habitat: all existing worms are terrestrial and prefer dark environment with high air humidity. They are found particularly in the rainforest, where they live among moss cushions and leaf litter. They are found in man-made cocoa and banana plantations in South America and the Caribbean. Velvet worms are usually most active at night and during rainy season. Under cold or dry conditions, they shift their bodies into the resting state. Peripatus is predaceous and feed on small invertebrates such as snails, insects, termites and worms. The slime of the worm is forcefully squirted from a pair of slime glands in defense against predators and to capture their prey. The slime glands are located on the sides of the head below the antennae. The slime can be propelled up to 4 centimeters. One squirt is sufficient to trap a prey. Slime is proteinaceous in composition with high tensile strength and stretchiness. Upon ejection, it forms a net of threads of about 20 micrometer in diameter. It subsequently dries, loses its stickiness, shrinks and becomes brittle. Worms will eat and reuse any dried slime. External morphology: unique Peripatus looks like caterpillar. The body is soft, bilaterally symmetrical and elongated. The external and length ranges from 0.5 cm to 20 cm. The external segmentation is not distinct and marks the thin cuticle and has velvety texture and is thrown into a transverse ridges bearing numerous conical papillae or tubercle with little chitinous spines. Dorsal skin coloration varies from red, brown, bright green, gold or white. The ventral surface always flashes colors. The body may be divided into an indistinctly marked off head and an elongated trunk. Head: head bears a pair of eyes, a pair of antennae, a pair of jaws and a pair of oral papillae. The eyes are simple and dorsal in position. Eyes resemble to that of Chitopods. The lens are visible externally. A retina and optic ganglia are internal. Antennae. Pair of sensory and slender antennae represent the first pair of appendages. The antennae are ringed and taper. Rings bear number of spines as well as abundant chemo and mechanoreceptors. Jaws or mandibles. Paired jaws constitute the second pair of appendages. They are found deeply in mouth cavity. Each jaw is small, muscular at its free end, having pair of sharp blades. Each jaw consists of two chitinous plates in which inner side is tooth and the outer side bears concave edges. The function of jaw is tearing the food. Oral papillae is third paired appendage which is located each side of the head. The distal end of papillae bears the opening of the duct from the slime gland. Like the antennae, the oral papillae are sensory. Mouth is located on the ventral side behind the oral papillae. Trunk. The trunk consists of up to 43 segments depending on the species. The trunk is devoid of exoskeleton and skin is thrown out into a number of ridges. The trunk segment is equipped with a pair of flighty, muscular legs or lobopods, also known as anicopods, which vary in number from 14 to 43 depending on the species and the sex. The legs are all alike and consist of two main divisions, the leg and the foot. Each leg is a hollow, large, conical, unjointed protuberance bearing a pair of claws. At the distal end of the leg on the ventral side are 3 to 6 spiniferous pads. The foot is attached to the distal end of the leg. The anus lies at the posterior end of the body and behind the last pair of legs. The genital pore is located on the ventral surface between the last pair of legs. A nephridopore lies at base of each leg. The claws can be used to grasp the substratum on rough surface and spinous pad enhance traction against the smooth surface. Body wall. Unlike the arthropods, Peripatus does not possess a rigid exoskeleton. Instead, their fluid-filled body cavity acts as a hydrostatic skeleton. The body wall is consisting of cuticle, epidermis, dermis and muscles. The thin 1 micron cuticle resembles the cuticle of arthropod consisting of alpha chitin and various proteins, although not containing the collagen. The surface of the cuticle is scattered with numerous fine papillae. The papillae themselves are covered with tiny scales, lending the skin a velvety appearance. It also feels like dry velvet to touch and it is water repellent in nature. Molting of the skin takes place every 14 days. Beneath the cuticle is a single layer of epidermis. It also secretes the cuticle. Dermis. It is thin layer of connective tissue, lies just below the epidermis. Muscle. There are 3 layers of muscle fibers. The outer layer is composed of circular muscles. The inner layer consists of longitudinal muscles. Between the outer and the inner layers, there is a diagonal muscle. The body wall of Peripatus is constructed on the typical annelidian plan. Body cavity. The body cavity is a hemocoel. It is lined with epithelium and comprises of 4 chambers, 1 central, 2 lateral and 1 pericardial. The body cavity is filled with blood-like liquid in which all the organs are embedded. In this way, they can be supplied nutrients circulating in the blood. The blood is colorless and does not contain pigments. The amoebocytes probably function in protection from bacteria and other foreign bodies. Nephrocytes absorb toxin for elimination by the nephridia. Digestive system. The digestive system consists of alimentary canal and digestive glands. Alimentary canal is very simple and tube-like structure. It begins with mouth and consists foregut of a pharynx and esophagus. The midgut comprises of stomach, intestine and hindgut or rectum. The mouth is situated at the base of prebuccal end. It is enclosed by oral papillae. In the preoral cavity lip, the claw-like mandible which is used for grasping and cutting the prey. The mouth leads into a pharynx. Pharynx is short, slightly swollen. The cavity is lined by chitin. The pharynx connects very short, narrow esophagus. The midgut referred to as the stomach, intestine, that is a long, thick, straight tube which forms the largest part of alimentary canal. The midgut epithelium is secretory and absorptive, where final digestion occurs. The hindgut or rectum is a short, sinuously curved and narrow and internally lined by chitin. It extends from the posterior midgut to the terminal anus, which opens on the ventral side at posterior end of the body. The most important digestive gland is a pair of salivary glands. Salivary glands open into the preoral cavity. The saliva that they produce is mucus and hydrolytic enzymes which initiate digestion both within and outside of the mouth. Circulatory system. The circulatory system consists of a single mid-dorsal tube, the muscular segmental lateral pair ostia. The heart pumps blood from and to the hemocoel. The contractile heart lies within the pericardium sinus. The heart extends from the segments bearing first pair of legs to the segments immediately before the last. No other definite blood vessel is found. Respiratory system. Oxygen uptake occurs via simple diffusion through entire body surface. The onychophoran respiratory system consists of abundant of very fine 1 to 3 micrometer in diameter unbranched trachea extending from spiracle on the body surface to the tissue. The brain, midgut and muscle are specially supplied by trachea. The small spiracles are scattered over the body surface and there may be 75 spiracles per segment. The spiracle opens into an atrium from which the trachea radiate to the tissues. Spiracles are most abundant on the dorsal surface. The onychophoran spiracles, unlike those of the most arthropods, are unable to control the opening. The tracheae are always open, entailing considerable water loss in Gert's condition. Because of this reasons, peripatus are restricted to humid habitat. Excretory system. In almost every segment has a pair of coiled tubes, excretory, the organs called nephridia, located in the ventrolateral sinuses. A typical nephridium consists of a long ciliated funnel, a coiled duct and a contractile bladder called vesicle. The first three pairs of nephridia are poorly developed, consist only vesicle and duct. The anterior nephridia are modified as salivary gland and the posterior nephridia are modified as gonoduct in the females. The important nitrogenous excretory product is the water insoluble uric acid. This can be excreted in solid form. Thus, peripatus is uricotelic in nature, which represents an adaptation to life on land and necessity of dealing economically with water. Coxal organs are paired, segmentally arranged in the lobopods. Coxal organ is an eversible sac that can evert from a pore on the leg, apparently absorbs water from the environment. Nervous system. Nervous system is primitive. It consists of a pair of suprapharyngeal ganglia or brain situated over pharynx and it innervate to the antennae, eye and the mouth region. A pair of circumpharyngeal connectives unite the brain with the ventral nerve cord. Two widely separate lateral longitudinal nerve cords run parallel to one another to the posterior end of the body, where they join together behind the anal aperture. In each segment, ventral nerve gives ganglion, which gives rise to paired nerves to legs and body wall. Sense organs. The sense organs are a pair of eyes and sensory papillae. There is a simple and small eye at the base of antenna. Eye is about 0.2 to 0.3 mm in diameter and cup-like in appearance. The outer layer has circular cornea and thick lens. In the inner layer, the rod cells of the retina are projected towards the lens at one end and other end is joined with optic nerve. Eyes can feel the difference between light and dark and the animal moves towards dark. Reproductive system. The sexes are separate. The males are usually smaller than females. Male reproductive organs. Testes are elongated and tubular structure. From each testis, a narrow vas efferens opens into seminal vesicle. On each side of the vesicle arises an elongated, narrow, slender and coiled vas deferens. Both sides of the vas deferentia unite to form ejaculatory duct. The proximal part of the ejaculatory duct is glandular and secretes a substance which packs the sperm cell into spermatophores. The ejaculatory duct opens exterior on the ventral surface between the legs of the last pair by the male gonopore. Female reproductive organs. The ovaries are a pair of tubular structure situated in the posterior part of the body. From each ovary arises an oviduct which runs anteriorly and forms a uterus. The two uteri unite and form vagina. Vagina opens ventrally near the posterior end of the body through genital pore. During mating, the male crawls over the body of the female and deposits a spermatophore at random on her back. Female accumulates many spermatophores. This stimulates blood amoebocytes and these amoebocytes dissolve the cuticle of the skin. The sperm now pass into hemolymph and reach the ovaries, where fertilization of eggs takes place. The majority of species are ovoviviparous. The medium-sized eggs, encased only by a double membrane, remains in the uterus. The embryo does not receive food from the mother, but supplied from the yolk contained in the eggs. The young one emerges from the egg only a short time before birth. Affinities. In 1874, Moseley first of all established the position of the Peripatus as a primitive member of phylum Arthropod by discovering the tracheae. Annelidian affinities. Peripatus resembles the annelids in many features. 1. Vermiform body with truncated extremities. 2. Simple and straight alimentary canal. 3. Appendages are hollow and unjointed. 4. True head is absent. 5. Paired segmentally arranged nephridia. 6. Outer body covering is cuticle. Skin is thin and flexible. 7. Locomotion is slow and by peristalsis as in an earthworm. 8. Presence of cilia in the reproductive tracts. 9. Structure of the eye is same as in polychaetes. Arthropodal affinities. Peripatus resembles the arthropods in many characteristic features. 1. Presence of trachea are respiratory organs. 2. The appendages are provided with claws. 3. Presence of antennae. 4. Body is covered with chitinous cuticle like that of arthropods. 5. General structure of reproductive organs and the pattern of development is same as in other arthropods. 6. Presence of hemocoel. Molluscan affinities. Peripatus exhibits the molluscan characteristics, namely 1. Slug-like appearance of the body. 2. Ladder-like nervous system as found in Polyplacophora and Prosobranchiata. Onychophoran characteristics. The characteristic features are peculiar to Onychophora, in which they differ from other phyla. 1. Antennae not homologous to the antennae of other arthropods. 2. Appearance of the skin is not like that of arthropods. 3. Body shows no or indistinct segmentation. 4. Three-segmental head of Peripatus exhibits a condition midway between that of Annelida and Arthropoda.